Well, hello from my backyard with barking dogs on both ends and little Whoopsie here. What are we working on today? This is what you would call stage 4 of Project Attitude, and it entails some of this stuff here. Stick around and I'll explain more. And probably what happened to stage 3. So yeah, we're doing wheel flares and we're also doing wheel spacers because originally I was going to buy a set of wheels and tires, but my off-road tires are in really good shape. So I think I'll just run those for a bit. And in the meantime, we'll just kick them out a little bit so they don't rub so much because they do touch the inner controller arm. Anyway, so this is one of the fronts. I believe this is the driver's side front. And it didn't come this way, obviously, as you can see down here. I ended up using Bedliner material. These came raw. They were textured, but I added texture, even more texture. And this stuff went on really smooth, like nice and easy. I put on 2 light coats, holding it about 8 to 12 inches away, and just kind of this isn't a Craigslist rebuild because this is the first time, so. Anyway, I sprayed all these down about 2 hours ago. It's dried at the touch within an hour, plus I left them out in the sun so they got to get nice and warm. And the next phase of these, they're called pocket style wheel flares, is to add the hardware. So essentially what we're gonna do is run a bolt and a washer through each hole here, and then use a lock nut on the back side and just go all the way around for all 4 of them. And then comes the part that I dread, which is clipping all this in place. Yeah. Mine didn't come with adhesive, but it's okay because I bought a tube of 3M adhesive. What I'll do is I'll just thumb a thin layer all the way down the edge before I press all that stuff on and cut it to length or whatever. I think they came in separate pieces, and you just want to be really patient with it. And I believe you want to start from right around here and then work your way around the edge, clip it all in until you get to the end, and then you cut it to shape to match the contour and the profile. Pretty sure you start here because this wraps underneath the fender. I did have to remove the factory mud flaps or little guards on the ends of the fender. Not a big deal. The kit, aside from the non-adhesive thing, it did come with the trim tool to keep it straight when you install it. Came with the Allen wrench to hold the nut still, and it came with these little snap clips because not every hole on a Dodge Ram has a threaded section in it, so this is to add on to it. And then these are little protectors so you don't scratch up the paint before you clip that on. So anyway, let me get started by assembling all this, and then yeah, well, I'll just assemble all this with the rubber and everything, and then we'll go out to the truck, I guess, and I'll show you how to install them. This part was actually pretty easy.
Two hours later.
This is 2 hours later. Thoughts about this trim. It's a real pain in the ass. Some of the nicer kits come with an adhesive tape you pull as you push it in. This one didn't, so I used 3M Black Super Weather Strip adhesive, and it sets up real fast, so you have to work quickly. So basically what I did was I started at one section, worked my way down. I ran a thin bead on the edge and then rolled it this way, so if there was any excess it would squirt towards the inside, and just kept pushing, pinching, pushing, pinching all the way around. When you get to this contour here at the front of the fender, tape take your time and give yourself excess. Like stretch, bend, pull, pray, cut off a chicken's foot, sacrifice a goat, whatever. Because when you get to this corner here, what I ended up doing is, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but I cut a tiny little relief, a little V in there to really get this corner in. And then you just follow it along all the way to the edge until it's flat this way. You just take a knife and cut it. When I started unrolling this and putting all this down, I didn't think they sent me enough stripping, but in hindsight, now that I got it all together, they gave you about 5 feet extra, which is fantastic. So the next step after I let this sit and eat some lunch is I'm gonna let that sealant tack up a little bit more, cure up a bit more, and we're gonna go install these. Fantastic. But yeah, this whole process here, running the bolts in, gluing all these down, that was 2 hours for sure. And then the other ones are just sitting over there chilling out. This is the driver's side front right here. So anyway, I'm gonna eat some lunch and we'll be back in a little bit, and we'll go over how to install these on the truck now, which I already had washed and detailed, so should be a clean install on a clean rig.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm starting at the rear driver's side, and what this is going to entail is taking out all the 8mm bolts around the perimeter, because we're going to reuse them through the flare. Also, there is an undrilled, untapped, whatever hole right here, and what we're going to need to do is install one of these little clippy-doos right there, there, yeah, up into here, and then run a screw through it. And they even provide you the grommets or the rubber so you don't scratch up your paint. So let me get that in there, and then I'll give you a still shot of the clippy-doo in there, and then I guess the installation, or at least finishing the installation, because essentially all you're going to do is you're going to press it up against the body and you're going to start running the bolts through. Start at the bottom so you have something to hold it in place, and then you can grab a middle one and then work the edges. So yeah, we'll do the rear and then I'll take you to the front. Okay, now we're at the front. Front is the same story as the rear. We're gonna zap out the 8mm bolts. There's 3 of them at the fender, and we're gonna put the little clippy-doo here and tighten it all back down. Now my experience with that over there is it's not really that gappy like a lot of people complained about. There's one spot, but I figure it's gonna get hot, it'll bend, it'll start to take shape a little bit. I can live with it the way it is, unless I put that one on backwards. I'll have to go check just to make sure. But so far, it went on pretty easily. I didn't have to use the included screws either, because I had an extra bolt, because that one has extra bolts in it that hold the inner fender well on. So I just reused one of those. Anyway, we'll get to this. And the clippy-doo thing is the same, so I'll just give you a still shot of this already installed. And then we'll do an overview.
More moments later.
Front on. So, a couple of things to note. Some of my clippy-doos that were original were rusted out. Thankfully, they included a bunch of extras. So I had to use 2 on this side. And I don't know how many I'm going to do on the other side yet because I haven't gotten that far. But like many other people who installed these, my badging got in the way. So yeah, debadged. I'm going to have to go in with some sprayway and clean all that up. But anyway, what do you guys think? That's just the flares. I haven't even done the wheel spacers yet. But let's go over an overview. The kit itself, I think it was $100, not bad. All the included hardware, they give you extras. The trim they give you extra length trim. Didn't get instructions, but the seller did send me a video, which I watched several before he sent the reply, to put this all together. Spray coating, trim, glue I had to buy, but hardware was all included. These are the only tools I really used, this and one screwdriver, but I didn't even actually use the screw, so I had an extra bolt, so I used it. And an X-Acto knife. That's about it, really. Like, this was actually, in terms of the number of tools I needed, not terrible. Installation, however, if you're not good or patient with paint or prep or curing time or drying time or any of that stuff, this is a 3 Samuel L. job at a bare minimum. If you've never done this before, it's probably going to be a 4 Samuel L. job for you. So we almost hit the top. Anyway, that's on. I got to do the other side and do the wheel spacers. I'll jump in and talk about the wheel spacers before we wrap up the video. So let me go ahead and finish the other side and I'll get back with you. But so far, I think it looks pretty trick. And it didn't touch my Nerf bars. Thank God.
One eternity later.
Okay, so this is the final part of stage 4 of Project Attitude. You can see my brakes are all broken in now. Wheel spacers. There's a lot of bad information out there, and there's a lot of fear mongering, and there's a lot of genuine concern, I would say. So let me give you a quick primer on wheel spacers. Now I'm going to disclose something. This is the first time I'm actually going to use these, but this is mainly based on years and years and years of just doing it with different wheels. But I'm going to run my factory wheels, and I'd like them to come out a little bit, because if you look at my sway bar over there, my tires rub it ever so slightly at full lock. So actually, now that I think about it, I should go get the sway bar end links that I got sitting in my room too. And maybe another time. Screw it. Anyway, so there are 2 types of wheels. There are what's known as lug-centric wheels, and then there's hub-centric wheels. And if you have hub-centric wheels where the center line of the wheel is determined by this diameter of the hub, then if you get spacers, you want to make sure that you buy hub-centric spacers. These are machined specifically to match the hub of your spindle, as you can see here. And this is a 2-inch spacer because I want to kick the tire out 2 inches. And it came with studs that are a little on the short side, but because of the way that the acorn nuts center in, it should be fine. I'm going to run them for a couple of days and see if I hear any funny noises. If I do, then I'll take these right back off. But for now, what you want is a hub-centric spacer, especially for a 4th gen Ram. These were made specifically for 4th gen Rams. If you want to try these out, they come in different diameters or different widths, and I'll leave you a link to the one I got. Basically what you do is you just slide it right on over, like so, and it's not going to fit completely perfect until you start cinching down the lug nuts. Then it kind of really squishes in. And these were originally here, but then you use them, obviously, here. Like so. So essentially what I'll do is I'll just run these in nice and tight, good and tight, right? And then put the wheel back on, and then run the original lug nuts I had for the wheel, which are those really stupid spikes, wherever they are. There. Because I'm such a child. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify this. If you bought spacers and you get a death wobble, chances are you didn't get hub-centric spacers. You're using a lug-centric spacer, which is no bueno. Because all those people who tell you that wheel spacers will kill you, they're not totally wrong. They're just not telling you why they're saying that. And what I'm telling you is it's because of this right here. Hub-centric, lug-centric. You want hub-centric with a 4th gen Ram. Let me get this on, torque down, and then I'll give you a still shot, and then I'll give you my final thoughts of the whole project. Sit tight.
1 hour later.
Okay, there it is, all done. This whole job, including the spacers. I think I started at 10. It's 4 o'clock, so 6 hours. A lot of it was waiting for the bedliner to dry. Front ones fit real good. No gaps, which is nice. Wheel spacers went on just like I thought they would. When you put the spacer on the hub, make sure you just lightly run a star pattern to get them to center, and then crank them down, and put your wheel on, star pattern, crank them down, and then take a breaker bar and make sure that they're still nice and tight at the end. I had to give about a quarter turn or so at the most on these 5. The backs here fits pretty good all the way down. I do have a gap here. I think it's because this was a little bit warped. I'm not sure if I can heat gun this or just cross my fingers and hope for the best, but it's mounted nice and tight, so this is a little gappy. I'm not too happy with that, but it is what it is. I'll try to figure this out another time. I'm pretty tired. So anyway, I still maintain that this is a 3 Samuel L. job for somebody who knows what they're doing. Plus I debadged the Eco Diesel logos. Anyway, I want to take the time to thank you all for watching. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a regular here, welcome back. Either way, check out my other playlists and see if my other interests are of interest to you. Let's give you the walk around to compare. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. We'll see you later.
The boy does have good hands.
Good head. Bad taste in car. Mother